Part 111. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1105. Although she told herself in her heart, don't care about that kind of person, and there is no need to be angry for that kind of person, but, I don't know if it's because of curiosity, or because she still minds being tricked last time. Zainan's live column. He really gained popularity. Not only did he have a regular column recommendation on the live broadcast website, but he also entered the top 20 on the fan list. I clicked in and found that Zainan's attire had changed subtly. He was wearing a traditional shirt, even the buttons on the neckline were buttoned up neatly, but he deliberately wore a very small woolen hat, which made his hair on his head sparse and his face round. Small eyes. The look is still the same, but now more personal, like a funny comedian. At the end, she thought of Zainan's friend who was an extra, presumably someone had instructed him on how to dress this way. Zainan was explaining Angelina's case live. If he hadn't seen this live broadcast, even I would have almost forgotten that she had fought such a lawsuit. Explore how the president's daughter solved the mystery of the death of a well-known broker. It has to be said that Zainan is really good at picking cases. Angelina, a girl group, has a certain popularity. Although Lena is far away from the entertainment industry, the residual heat is still there. Coupled with the president's daughter, it naturally attracts people's attention even more. Zainan's live broadcast is divided into 4 points for explanation and 6 points for performance. I watched it silently for a while, then closed the page, thinking that the things in this world are really wonderful. Some people went to jail because of her, some were cleared of grievances because of her, some lost their loved ones because of her, some became popular because of her becoming a popular anchor, and some people sent black roses with murderous intentions because of her. Flower. The next day was Saturday, there was no class, and there was no need to go to the orphanage, so I slept until 9 o'clock. I don't know the symptoms of other pregnant women. In short, she suddenly became lethargic during this time. After getting up, she ate a bowl of custard and went to the bathroom to vomit. Legs watching TV. She didn't seem to know what was going on TV, her eyes were watching, but her mind couldn't keep up, spinning around in a daze. Cheng pulled her foot over and placed it on his lap, and cut her toenails bit by bit. I's feet are small and exquisite, with snow-white skin, and the toenails are pink in color, they are well maintained, and a crescent moon falls off when she is cut. What do you want for lunch later? He asked. I's eyes moved slightly, as if he had thought about it seriously, and said, Malatang. After hearing this, Chen nodded, okay, let's have steamed sea bass for lunch. I rolled her eyes. The bodyguards outside came in and seemed to ask for instructions. Cheng put down I's legs, got up and left, and went to the outer courtyard with the bodyguards. At this moment, when Yu Yang called, I knew that the case had progressed. It should not be Black Rose. As soon as the call was connected, Yu Yang said immediately, with a firm tone. I asked, another imitator? It's not even an imitator, Yu Yang explained, just because the Black Rose was found at the scene of the crime, the people in the police station were nervous for a while, and they all thought it was the pervert who did it. Later, they carefully explored the scene and studied the crime. The behavior is completely different from the serial murder case a few years ago. I asked, what's the difference? The Black Rose used to commit crimes like painting. The victim lay quietly in the bathtub. The woman, blood, and rose petals formed a thick and colorful oil painting, while the rest of the bathroom was spotless and obviously cleaned carefully. But in this case, they first sent roses, then went to the victim's home, cut his throat with a knife, and left immediately. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1106. Yu Yang said, sighed slightly, and continued, although there are black roses, the modus operandi, criminal behavior and criminal psychology are all completely different. I think the real black roses will not commit crimes again, even if they appear again. If you want to kill someone, you must change the form and appear with a new look. This kind of criminal has a very strong self-esteem, and being imitated by others feels like his own rules of the game have been broken, and the game has lost its fun. As for this case, I think it's someone else. I pondered, feeling that this incident was a bit strange. I'm not sure if this case is related to the black rose you received. Yu Yang asked her, did anything abnormal happen around you after you received the flower? Abnormal? That's not the case. There were many bodyguards around her originally, but the number of bodyguards increased unabated after she got pregnant, plus she was with Cheng almost every day. Nothing unusual happened. I frowned while thinking, and raised her eyes to see Cheng walking in from the outside, holding a bunch of black roses in his hand. I's face turned pale instantly. Yu Yang. She stared blankly at Cheng approaching. I received it again. What? Yu Yang asked on the other end of the phone. Black rose, I murmured, it's here again. Cheng obviously noticed the change in I's expression. He frowned, glanced down at the flowers in his hand, his face was worried. What does this mean? Cheng picked up the delicate card in the bouquet with 2 fingers, and handed it to I. The person who sent the flowers was stopped by the bodyguards. This thing is anonymous, take a look. Is it one of you who doesn't know, a gift from a long-eyed classmate? Cheng didn't know about the murder case just happened in Xinjiang. He just felt displeased with someone sending flowers to I one after another. I took the card. There were only 4 words, looking forward to meeting you. Still not signed. I's complexion was extremely ugly. What's going on? Cheng looked at her, feeling something was wrong. I don't know either. I put down the card, her heart sinking. Among the people I know, no one will give me this kind of flower. I raised his head and looked at Cheng. Yu Yang told me that someone in Xinjiang city received such an anonymous black rose and was killed 2 weeks later. I suspect that case may have something to do with me. Cheng's eyes darkened, and there was a bit of sternness in his eyes. He turned around and strode out, and came back after a while, with empty hands. The roses had disappeared, and he must have disposed of them. Such things of unknown origin will definitely not be kept. I've already asked someone to check. Who sent the flowers will find out soon. Cheng held I in his arms, kissed his forehead. Don't be afraid, I'm here. I's tense expression immediately relaxed, and she smiled lightly. I'm not afraid, it's just that I feel a little uncomfortable. Anyone receiving such an anonymous gift would probably feel uncomfortable, as if being targeted by some dark creature. Besides, I is pregnant now, so she is more sensitive than usual. She sighed softly, and subconsciously stroked her lower abdomen, feeling that her recent life was not very stable. Cheng also felt deeply unlucky, and said, starting next week, we will also bring bodyguards with us at school. Muse's current bodyguard usually stays outside after sending her to school. If every rich and powerful student brings a bunch of bodyguards to school, it will definitely seriously interfere with the teaching order, so this is absolutely not allowed. Isn't it appropriate? I said, specialization is the most taboo in school. Cheng said, then don't go to school next week. It's even more inappropriate. I smiled. If you want to go to school, you have to listen to me, don't worry about it. Cheng hugged her whole body in his arms, and kissed her several more times. I will make arrangements. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1107. I don't agree, Sidu Yan immediately objected coldly when he received a call from Murong Cheng. How decent is it to bring a guard to class, Sidu Yan said solemnly. If you let other students see you in such a publicity, what should you think? No way. Murong Cheng said, Zizi is pregnant. Sidu Yan. This should be the first grandchild of the Sidu family, Murong Cheng said calmly. It's less than 3 months now, and the doctor said that this time is the most dangerous. Zizi can't sleep well these days, if something goes wrong. Sidu Yan. When Zhou Musa went to school, there were 6 more guards by her side. Wearing a neat uniform with a gun on his waist, he guarded the outside of the classroom meticulously. Some students in the class couldn't bear their curiosity and asked Muzi, what happened? Muzi smiled a little embarrassedly. Well, recently some reporters are chasing me more closely, and my family is worried about me, so they assigned guards. Everyone understands, so I won't ask any more questions. Although the students expressed their understanding, it was really ostentatious to be surrounded by a group of guards, and Muzi was not used to it. Fortunately, the summer vacation is going to be in 1 month, so it won't be too long to swagger. 2 days later, everything was calm. Just like when I received the black rose last time, I was shocked when I received the flower, but nothing happened after that. Is it a smoke bomb? Muzi pondered, maybe deliberately trying to make me feel uneasy. Putting on a posture that seems to be about to attack, but delaying making a move, it must be psychologically torturing her. On the way home, Muzi kept thinking about the other party's purpose, and unknowingly arrived at the door, only to find that there were a few more cars nearby, and the president's guard was also there. She got out of the car and saw Sidu Yan and Chen Kailing coming out of the house one after the other. They probably heard the sound of the car engine and came out to meet her. How does your body feel? Chen Kailing supported Muzi's arm, her gaze fell softly on her abdomen. I can't tell at all. Muzi smiled, it's only been 2 months, and this skirt is rather loose. Sidu Yan asked her, which hospital did you go to? The #1 women's and children's hospital in the city is the best. I'll send someone to go there to set up a file for you some other day. He smiled all over his face, as if he was afraid that his enthusiasm would make his daughter feel uncomfortable, but he tried his best to restrain himself, making the smile extremely stiff. Muzi smiled and said, the one I went to was the first hospital for women and children. Sidu Yan nodded in satisfaction, and looked back at Murong Cheng behind him. It's pretty reliable. Murong Cheng curled his lips slightly. A group of people entered the room to talk. Muzi and Murong Cheng sat on one side of the sofa, Sidu Yan and Chen Kailing sat on the other side. There are many gifts piled up in the living room, and the servant is counting them one by one. Don't mention how happy the old lady is, she can't wait to send all the bird's nest stock at home. Chen Kailing smiled. There are also those mountain products, local eggs, walnuts, which are specially sent to the mountain to collect them. I know you have no shortage but it's all the old man's wish, so I sent them all over. Is the old madam feeling better? I'll go back and have a look some other day. Muzi was kind and courteous. Sidu Yan waved his hand, no, you take care of it first, there are many taboos in the first 3 months, so don't move around. Yes, Chen Kailing echoed, old madam heard that you are pregnant, and your energy is much better than before. Wait for 3 months before going there. Don't worry. Muzi didn't hurry up anymore. Feeling tired after chatting for a while, she yawned lazily. Sidu Yan immediately became nervous. Is there too much homework? Zizi has been like this since she was pregnant, and she is prone to sleepiness. Murong Cheng said, I usually sleep for more than an hour when I come back. Sidu Yan and Chen Kailing stopped sitting for a long time, hurriedly got up and said goodbye. Go and rest quickly, there is no need to send it off. Murong-Chensin said, originally, I didn't plan to send. He sent the two of them to the door, and then returned to the living room, only to find that Muzi had fallen asleep leaning on the pillow. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1108. Murong Cheng gently hugged her. Muzi did not sleep deeply, and immediately woke up. Seeing Murong Cheng's face, she closed her eyes in peace. Go to bed and sleep. Murong Cheng bowed his head and pressed her forehead to her, and carried her upstairs to the bedroom. Covering Muzi with a thin quilt, seeing her childish sleeping face, Murong Cheng's heart seemed to melt. When he was not pregnant, he was very anxious. Now that he is pregnant, he is unavoidably anxious. Maybe later is better, pregnancy is still too much work. Leaning over to kiss her, Murong Cheng got up and left, closing the door gently. Seeing Murong Cheng coming down, the bodyguard downstairs stepped forward and said, it turned out to be a flower shop on Yufu Street. The transaction was made in cash. There was only one mobile phone number left, and there were no surveillance cameras nearby. Does the clerk have no impression? Murong Cheng asked with a frown. It should be rare for customers to buy black roses. It's a very sloppy old man, the bodyguard said hesitantly. It should be a homeless man who was instructed by someone to buy flowers. After paying the full amount, the flower shop directly called the flower market to order. Is there any progress from the police? Murong Cheng asked again. No, the bodyguard shook his head. Officer He of the police station said that he has monitored several large flower markets near Jingling. Most of the flower shops in Jingling City go there to buy goods. Once someone orders black roses again, they will call up the surveillance video near the flower shop online at the first time, and the street patrol police are also on call at any time. Murong Cheng nodded slightly, but his brows still did not relax. Like Muzi, he was temporarily confused about the other party's purpose. It is almost impossible to attack Muzi, as there is no shortage of people around her 24 hours a day. Is it because of this that they send bouquets of flowers, harass, intimidate, and play tricks from time to time? Either way, don't take this guy lightly. Muzi slept for an hour, and when he opened his eyes, Murong Cheng's face came into view. She couldn't help smiling, and touched his face. Why do you keep looking at me? It looks good. Murong Cheng bowed his head and kissed her lips, and asked, get up now. Do you want to drink water? Muzi blinked her eyes. I'm a little thirsty, I don't have any taste in my mouth, I want to drink coconut milk. Okay. Murong Cheng turned and went downstairs, and came back after a while, holding a green coconut with a straw stuck in it. Muzi raised the corners of her lips, like Tinker Bell. Murong Cheng put the coconut in her hand, pinched her face. Can ding dong make your belly bigger? Damn it, don't ruin my childhood. Muzi patted his hand away, annoyed and funny. Murong Cheng stopped messing with her, and sat on the bed with her in his arms. He had nothing to do, so he picked up the remote control and turned on the TV. Muzi drank the coconut juice and asked Murong Cheng, who do you think will be the one who sent the flowers? This is the first time the two have spoken head-on on the topic. Murong Cheng was a little surprised. He glanced at her. What do you think? At first I thought it was Mu Zening. Muzi stared at the advertisement on TV, but later, I didn't think so. Why not? Murong Cheng asked. Yu Yang said that the murderer's method of committing the crime was very neat, cutting his throat with a knife, quite precise. Muzi said, Mu Zening is not at this level. If he shoots someone, Muzi will believe it, but with a knife, Mu Zening really sucks. Murong Cheng said, don't forget, he is by Jinyan's side, why can't ghosts and snakes see him? Maybe he hired a professional killer. Killer, Muzi murmured, maybe. At this time, a piece of news was suddenly broadcast on the TV. In a park next to a street in the Zikan district of Jingling, a woman died of her throat being cut. The picture shakes, and the camera captures the body bag on the stretcher, the blood-stained floor tiles, the scattered black roses, and the crowd of onlookers. Musei held her breath. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1109. The news is a very short flash, apparently a murder that just happened not long ago, in Jingling City, in broad daylight, in a crowded street park, a woman's throat was cut silently. Incredible. How did it work? Musei stared blankly. Murong Cheng turned off the TV, stretched out a hand to gently stroke her back. It'll be fine. What the hell is he trying to do? She murmured. How many more people will he kill? It may not really be him, Murong Cheng comforted in a low voice. It was just our guess. Maybe the murderer was a lunatic, maybe it wasn't Mu Zhenning at all. Musei's heart seemed to be sinking to the bottom of the lake, heavy and cold. No matter who it is, I'm afraid they won't stop here. Since Jingling City is located in the political center of Huaya, the law and order has always been the best in the country. Suddenly, a dead body was found lying on the street, which immediately sparked heated discussions. 2 consecutive lives were related to Black Rose, and the internet was even more noisy. Reporters surrounded the police station every day, wanting to know the progress of the case, but the police only concluded that the 2 cases were probably committed by the same person, and refused to disclose more inside information. The police also sent people to set up defenses near Musei's residence, suspecting that the murderer's next target would be Musei. Musei felt that the other party would not appear so soon. If the other party wants to torture her, it will make her tremble and fear the death that will come at an unknown time for a long period of time. Only in this way can it be regarded as suffering. When they went to school again, the students all looked at Musei strangely. Musei received the Black Rose, which was witnessed by everyone. Now that there are more guards around him, it is almost self-evident what happened. Intentionally or not, the students began to keep a distance from Musei. Nobody wants to get in trouble. After a week like this, the Black Rose appeared again. As soon as the clerk who delivered the flowers arrived at the security post, he was immediately surrounded by police officers and bodyguards lurking around. The students who came in and out nearby stopped to watch, and they all expressed surprise when they saw the large bouquet of magnificent and fragrant black roses. The roses were not delivered to Musei. The policeman disassembled the bouquet and inspected it carefully. It was fresh and fragrant, with dew on it. It seemed that nothing had been done to it. There was only a small greeting card between the flowers and leaves, which read, "I miss you very much. Miss you so much." With a little ridicule, as if from a friend I know. This card was handed over to Musei. She was silent for a long time, then asked the bodyguards to dispose of the roses and the card, and went straight into the car by herself. On the way home, the car was escorted by guards at the front and back, and no one could get close, even if it was a long-range snipe. The car she was riding in was bulletproof and explosion-proof. Probably, I can only send a few flowers to scare her, right? Musei quietly thought about something on her mind, put one hand on her stomach, and said, "Go to the hospital." The driver was shocked when he heard the words, and immediately glanced at Musei through the rearview mirror, and said nervously, "Ma'am, are you all right?" Musei's expression was indifferent, and she only frowned slightly. "Well, it hurts a bit." The driver and bodyguards in the car were almost out of their wits. "Don't dare to delay now, speed up and gallop straight to the hospital." Musei said that his stomach hurts. Everyone was nervous. Murong Cheng rushed to the front, Sidu Yan and Chen Kaling received the news, and then they also arrived. A group of people were anxiously waiting for the news outside the B ultrasound room, and Chen Kaling was worried. "Why do you have a stomachache? It's been a long time since I went in, why haven't I come out?" Sidhu Yan was also anxious, and asked Murong Chang, "How do you take care of her? If I had known this, it would be better to live in the presidential palace." "It's because the guards you sent were so blind." Murong Chang's face was gloomy. "Isn't it over if we kill the person who gave the flowers earlier?" "You." Sidhu Yan was anxious, looking around at the nurses and patients passing by. He literally swallowed thousands of words, unable to speak, unable to speak. At this time, the door of the ultrasound room finally opened. The doctor helped Muzi out with a smile on his face, and said, "Congratulations, there are 2 babies, you should rest more when you get home." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 1110. The people outside were startled. The 2 men forgot to argue, and they all beamed happily at the same time, too. The doctor smiled and said, "Yes, twins." Murong Cheng did not forget to ask, "Is the stomach cramping related to this?" The doctor shook his head. "Some minor threatened miscarriages, the chief physician should prescribe progesterone in a while, try to stay in bed for the next few days." As soon as the voice fell, the joy just now was immediately reduced by 5 or 6 points. Murong Cheng carefully supported Muzi, took the B ultrasound checklist and went to see the chief physician. After another examination, the doctor said that the problem was not serious, and prescribed progesterone tablets and vitamins. Pay attention to regulating your emotions at ordinary times, try to keep your mood comfortable, and avoid all kinds of bad stimuli. Nervousness, depression, fright, and anger are very detrimental to the growth and development of the fetus. The doctor said so. Muzi responded one by one, feeling helpless and guilty. Feelings are really hard to control. If she could, she certainly hoped that she could be happy every day, but she couldn't be indifferent to what happened before her. On the way back, Murong Cheng said, "Don't go to school for now." Muzi thought for a while, nodded obediently, and sighed, "I'll call the teacher to ask for leave." "Good boy." Murong Cheng rubbed the top of Muzi's hair. "Let your president's father ask for leave, and I promise not to fail." Muzi knew that he wanted to make her happy, so she smiled lightly. "Okay, if you don't get excellent, you can get pass. There are still 2 weeks of classes, so I barely go to school, and I probably won't be able to attend the class, which is not interesting." After returning home, Muzi found that the internet at home was disconnected, and she couldn't watch the TV either. She laughed at herself slightly, and looked at Murong Cheng. "If we are like this, are we pretending to be deaf and dumb? Knowing that that person will definitely commit crimes, send flowers and show up as victims, but they have to choose not to see or hear." Murong Cheng kissed her on the forehead. "This is called transcendence." The corners of Muzi's lips smiled. She is not a character who likes to avoid, but she also understands what Murong Cheng means. Maybe it is really not suitable to be brave when she is pregnant, and there is nothing wrong with being a turtle with her head back. In mid-June, Muzi didn't go to school again. "According to the doctor's advice, I stay in bed every day, and occasionally go for a walk by the lake, or stroll in my own garden. Boring is boring, and comfort is indeed comfort." She didn't know that roses were delivered to the villa every now and then, and she didn't know that the outside world had already turned upside down. More and more women received black roses, but the police never caught the murderer. Everyone was panicked, fearing that one day they would suddenly receive anonymous roses. This kind of fear is constantly fermenting and expanding. People vent their anger on the internet and denounce the incompetence of the police. There is also a bizarre statement, saying that the target of Killer Rose is actually Sidhu Muzi, and if Muzi is not dead, the killer will continue to commit crimes. This untrue news quickly spread like a virus on the internet. But at this time, another reporter visited the Judicial Training Institute and found out that Situ had already asked for leave and hid. Like adding fuel to the fire, the anger of the people was completely ignited. The powerful can shrink under their wings and be protected, but ordinary people deserve to be massacred wantonly. At this time, the name Situ was no longer a noble daughter of the president, nor a genius defense lawyer, but a public enemy of the whole people. Everyone wants her dead. Muzi, on the other hand, knew nothing about what happened outside. Under Murong Cheng's intentional isolation, she couldn't read the news, couldn't connect to the internet, and even asked the doctor to come to her home for regular pregnancy checkups. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Liao. Chapter 1111. Muse's belly gradually swelled, and she finally found some feeling of being a mother. In July, she felt the strange fetal movement for the first time. In order to wait for the second fetal movement, she and Murong Cheng lay side by side on the bed without moving for 2 hours. In the end, before the fetus started to move, when she was so hungry that she gurgled, the two of them were taken aback, leaning together and laughing. Apart from the fetal movement, Muzi's taste also changes from time to time. Sometimes for some reason, she suddenly wants to eat a certain food, and the thought makes her heart scratch her lungs. It is very difficult. At 5 o'clock in the morning, Muzi woke up hungry. He stared at the ceiling for a while, but couldn't bear the appetite, so he had to push Murong Cheng beside him. "What's wrong?" Murong Cheng's voice was muffled, with sleepiness from just waking up. Muzi hesitated and said, "I want to eat peony shayamai." Murong Cheng laughed and pinched her nose. "Little gluttonous pig, you came looking for food so early." Muzi had a very bad temper during her pregnancy, and she looked unhappy. "Can't you change the word? It's fine to change it to a little greedy cat every day. What's the difference? They're all the same greedy. At least I look smarter." Murong Cheng laughed lowly, and touched her stomach. "It's all like this, and you still want to be dexterous? You'd better just be honest. This is a bit exaggerated. It's only been more than 4 months, even though they are twins. Muzi thinks they are quite flexible." She made a gesture to get up, but was pushed back by Murong Cheng. "Sleep a little longer. When you wake up, the sumai should be delivered." Muzi hurriedly said, "It's not ordinary sumai, nor is it beiwa sumai, it's peony sumai stuffed with asparagus and fresh meat. Don't buy it wrong." At the end, he curled his lips a little aggrieved. "I bought the wrong durian pizza last time. What I wanted was Muzang King Durian Pizza. They bought it as Sultan King Durian. It's hypocritical again, isn't it?" Murong Cheng pinched her chin and said harshly, "Pregnant women shouldn't eat durian. Let you eat it once, and you still chose it. You said that you want balanced nutrition, so of course I have to eat everything." Muzi turned away, curled up on the bed with her belly in her arms. "I want to eat peony sumai, not ordinary sumai, nor beiwa sumai. Peony shayamai stuffed with asparagus and fresh meat." Troublemaking, Murong Cheng was also convinced, got up and changed his clothes. "Understood, peony sumai stuffed with asparagus and fresh meat, I'll go buy it myself." Muzi blinked her eyes, raised her hand in a victory gesture. "You're proud of that?" Murong Cheng laughed. "No." Muzi pursed her lips, "I bought 2 copies." Murong Cheng was really convinced. After changing clothes and washing up neatly, Murong Cheng and his bodyguards went out to buy sumai at 5:30 in the morning. Muzi heard the sound of the car's engine gradually moving away, closed her eyes and wanted to go back to sleep, but her stomach was rumbling from hunger, and her stomach was about to cramp. "This feeling is like, if I don't find something to eat, my stomach will digest me." She couldn't lie down anymore. She got up to look for food, and wanted to pad her stomach first. "I went to the kitchen and rummaged for a while, found some bread and biscuits, and when I was about to go back to the room, I passed by Chin Shu and Aunt Chin's room, and heard low voices coming from inside. The two of them work in the villa, and they always get up early every day. One cleans the yard and the other prepares breakfast. It's about 6 o'clock, which is almost the time to get up. I heard that someone has received roses again. When Muzi heard what Aunt Chin said, she couldn't help but stagnate in her steps back to the room. Then came Uncle Chin's voice, "It's getting louder and louder, there are 17 or 8 women who have received flowers. How can there be so many police officers sent out to protect them? They can only be gathered together to avoid further accidents. Hey, what about their work and study? Work and study? My life is almost gone, who cares about work and study? It's really a crime, and it hurts my wife to be scolded, alas. Okay, my husband said that you are not allowed to mention this at home. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again." Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1112. The two sighed, and the topic changed after a while. Muzi stood silently for a while, then returned to her room. After closing the door, looking down at the pile of snacks in his arms, he suddenly lost his appetite and was extremely boring. She put all the snacks on the table, lay back on the bed, and subconsciously picked up the phone to connect to the internet, but her movements froze, and put the phone back after a while. What's the use of seeing it? In addition to making herself feel idle, how could she catch the prisoner with her stomach full? All the policemen in Jingling City are helpless. Is she smarter than all the policemen in the city combined? Even so, it is still difficult to calm down. Muzi tossed and turned on the bed. After lying down for a long time, the sky outside gradually brightened. In the quiet morning, she heard the sound of cars approaching gradually. After a while, Murong Cheng opened the door and came in, and the aroma of food also wafted in. Seeing that she was still awake, Murong Cheng couldn't help laughing and said, "Have you been waiting?" "Yeah." Muzi nodded honestly, "I'm too hungry to sleep." "Eat it, and ask Aunt Chin to bring a cup of soy milk." Murong Cheng opened the lunchbox and teased, "Why do you have the nerve to order your man around?" "It's not me who orders you," Muzi argued, "it's your baby who orders you." Murong Cheng laughed, "My baby knew what peony Shayamai was before she was born." Muzi said calmly, "He doesn't know, but I want to eat, so he is filial to me." Murong Cheng was annoyed and funny when he heard the words. He pinched Muzi's face and rubbed it. "For a long time, I went to buy breakfast early in the morning, but the last thank you letter didn't come out, so it all became his filial piety. He is also very filial to you." Muzi squeezed the chopsticks and stuffed a sumai into Murong Cheng's mouth. Murong Cheng chewed a few mouthfuls and swallowed. "Well, the taste is not bad. One serving of peony sumai is 6, 2 servings are 12, and 2 people can finish it quickly with one bite." When she was full, Muzi slowly got up to wash and brush her teeth. With her toothbrush in her mouth, she asked Murong Cheng, "Has there been any progress in the case recently?" Murong Cheng was taken aback when he heard the words. During the period of confinement at home, they had never avoided mentioning this matter. Why did Muzi suddenly bring it up now? Muzi spat and said, "You can tell me what I can hear. Don't tell me bad news. If I don't know anything, I won't feel at ease." Murong Cheng pondered for a while, and told her, "The good news is that the murderer hasn't committed any crimes recently. He used many different accounts to order flowers on the internet, and his main targets were young women in Jingling City, aged between 16 and 30. No wait, all the women who received flowers are under centralized protection by the police, so don't worry. Is there no account to check the person? It turns out that it's either the theft of other people's information, or it's fake at all." Murong Cheng said, "Those drug dealers have a large number of empty accounts in their hands all the year round, which is convenient for fund protection. Follow this clue to investigate, usually it will be a dead end." "Is that so?" Muzi was thoughtful, continued to rinse her mouth and face, and didn't ask further questions. Murong Cheng watched her come out of the bathroom calmly, and then took a book of prenatal education guidebook to browse casually, feeling a little worried. He was worried that Muzi was hiding something in his heart, but on the surface he pretended to be nothing. By the way, there is another fun thing, Murong Cheng said. He tried to make Muzi feel more relaxed. Muzi was really curious. She raised her head and asked, "What fun thing?" "Didn't you help a classmate named Zainan in a lawsuit last time?" Murong Cheng said with a smile. He opened a live broadcast to analyze the Rose case, and now it is very popular on the internet. Similar reasoning live broadcasts, but they are not as popular as him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1113. Hearing this, Muzi was a little stunned. After a while, he came back to his senses, and smiled lightly. He is like this, he is very keen on current affairs. If there is such a big murder case in Jingling City, if you don't use it to rub it, you won't be Zainan. He also said that he deduced the key information about the criminal, and the identity of the criminal will be revealed in the next episode of the program. Murong Cheng shook his head with a smile. I don't know if it's a gimmick or if he really has some clues. Now there are hundreds of thousands of fans. We are all waiting for his live broadcast. Murong Cheng didn't know about Zainan's use of Muzi. In fact, since he saw Zainan's photo, he didn't take him seriously. The cunning and black-bellied Murong Cheng is not immune either. When he sees someone who looks like an otaku, he will subconsciously feel contemptuous and despise him. But he doesn't hate Zainan, because recently when he and Sidu Yan joined forces to suppress negative comments on the internet, Zainan also contributed. Zainan said in his live broadcast that the prisoner deliberately created pressure on the public and caused internal conflicts, which is one of the prisoner's pleasures. Under pressure from all sides, public opinion gradually returned to rationality. Muzi asked, when is his next live broadcast? It was supposed to be yesterday, but there was no news all day. Maybe it was an opportunity to hype it up, Murong Cheng said. Since he said that he had a clue, his fan value has increased by 200,000. Muzi twitched the corner of her mouth lightly, without commenting. There was the sound of a car downstairs. Murong Cheng got up and went to the window, and saw two police cars driving one behind the other outside. Murong Cheng frowned slightly. It's so early, who is here? Muzi also walked over, looking down curiously. The police car stopped outside the courtyard, and the two men got out of the car. The bodyguard guarding the courtyard gate saw the other party showing his ID and let them in. The people who came were the prosecutor and the police officer in charge of the Rose case. We want to ask Miss Sidhu for some information, the prosecutor said. Miss Sidhu's classmate Zainan was killed last night. When the accident happened, he was holding his mobile phone, and it showed that the last dialed number was Sidhu Muzi. Muzi's face suddenly turned pale. Is he dead? The prosecutor said, he was rescued in the hospital, but he is not out of danger yet. Another police officer said, the same knife cut the throat, the murderer left immediately after the attack. Your classmate is lucky, because the fat layer is thick. The murderer only cut the jugular vein, not the artery, but the situation is also very critical, and is still in a coma. Muzi was startled. She really didn't expect that Zainan would have an accident. Miss Sidhu, did Zainan disclose anything to you before? The prosecutor asked her. Muzi was stunned, and it took a long time to look at the other party. No. My phone has been turned off recently, and I haven't received a call from him. The prosecutor and the police officer glanced at each other, both a little disappointed. They thought they would get some clues. The day before Zainan said that he had a clue about the prisoner, everyone thought it was a gimmick, bragging, hype. Whether it was true or not, now that he was lying in the hospital, it was obvious that the prisoner wanted to kill him. If Zainan had seen the criminal's face clearly at the moment when he committed the crime, the case would have been solved. But the question is, will Zainan wake up? Which hospital is he in? Muzi asked. I want to visit him. She turned her head to look at Murong Cheng, and said again, I want to see him. Murong Cheng sighed slightly, and asked the prosecutor, can I visit you? The prosecutor hesitated, and finally nodded, I'll ask someone to arrange it. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 1114. Zainan is now one of the key witnesses to be protected. According to the rules, no one is allowed to visit. In case of an accident, no one can be held responsible. However, Muzi's identity is different after all, and the case is indeed related to her, so it's not a bad idea to accommodate her. Muzi tidied up a bit, changed her clothes and went to the hospital. Murong Cheng was with her. Zainan was in a separate ward. In the words of the doctor, he had done all the rescue measures that could be done, and the rest would depend on his own fate. When Muzi arrived, the doctors and nurses were doing examinations in the ward. The prosecutor asked how the patient was doing, and the doctor said that he was in good condition today and might wake up. On the hospital bed, Zainan's eyes were closed tightly, and a blood transfusion was inserted in his arm. Even so, his face was still pale, with almost no trace of blood visible. Looking at his silent appearance, Muzi couldn't help but think of the time when he was in school. At that time, Zainan couldn't control his blushing and sweating whenever he was nervous. He was always hot and rosy, even in college in winter, he can also sweat on his forehead. Muzi recalled that when the two finally broke up, Zainan said over and over again, but I didn't hurt anyone. I didn't hurt anyone. He just wanted to have his own place in the city, although he used the wrong method, but Muzi couldn't think anymore, she was very sad. After Zainan's accident, the first thing he did was not to call the police or the emergency center, but to call her. It was like this last time, and it's also like this time. Will he get better? Muzi asked. The doctor said, it depends on the recovery in the past few days, the prosecutor said. Muzi asked again, did the nearby surveillance find any suspects? The prosecutor was silent for a while, and sighed. The other party came prepared, destroyed the nearby monitoring equipment in advance, and then knocked on the door of Zainan's room. When the door opened, the other party cut Zainan's throat. Leave immediately, without any lingering. The current situation is too passive, Muzi said. It is impossible for the people in the police station to protect those women all the time. Don't the police have any countermeasures? Actually, we have had several operations. The prosecutor sighed, but it didn't work. The biggest problem is not being able to lock the target. It is difficult to formulate an effective method. Muzi was silent. At this time, Murong Cheng, who had been silent all this time, suddenly said, is he waking up soon? Everyone in the ward was taken aback for a moment, and then they all looked at Zainan, who was on the bed. Zainan's expression seemed to have changed, his brows were slightly furrowed, and his fingers moved slightly. Muzi's heart suddenly hung up, and he immediately moved closer, tentatively calling his name, Zainan, Zainan. The person on the hospital bed finally opened his eyes, but his eyes were dazed. He looked at the figure in front of him and did not respond for a long time. The prosecutor immediately went out and called the doctor. Zainan, can you talk now? Muzi's heart tightened, and her voice was tense. Zainan, who wants to kill you? Zainan looked for the sound and looked at Muzi. He opened his lips, but couldn't make a clear sound. Mu Zi hurriedly leaned over to listen. With his ear close, he heard Zinan say in a breathy voice, "It's a woman." "Woman? What kind of woman?" Mu Zi asked anxiously. "A very beautiful woman." Zinan seemed to smile. "I guessed it." Mu Zi didn't understand. "Beautiful woman? I guessed it." Zinan's voice was hoarse, as if he would lose strength at any moment. "I guessed it, she is Black Rose, disguised as a victim, Black Rose." Mu Zi covered her lips, she couldn't help crying. The prosecutors, doctors and nurses behind rushed in, and the ward immediately became narrow and crowded. Murong Cheng held Mu Zi's arm and led him out of the ward so as not to interfere with the doctor's work. As soon as she stepped out of the ward, Mu Zi burst into tears. Murong Cheng sighed and wiped her tears. "Why are you crying? Isn't he dead, huh?"